Okay, so I'm just going to prove that this is an artificial intelligence city system around me. As soon as I open the door, plane going over. Now let me just prove a point because I do not know what is going to happen. Anyone will tell you that any person, I just live in the suburb of Leichhardt, in the what I would call artificially intelligent total human control system in the city of Sydney. Now, it's very hard for me to describe these things accurately because I'm just a random, relatively normal person that lives in this particular place on Henry Street, Leichhardt, halfway down Henry Street in the suburb of Leichhardt, opposite a great big, almost opposite a great big Greek Orthodox church. Irrelevant, but just giving my location. Plane is going over as I say that. Now this is what I'm trying to show, if it is humanly possible, although I doubt it. And it just occurred to me to do this second. It is nearly New Year's Day. So the beginning, it will soon be the beginning of 2024. And I have got through 2023 just barely, with my mind and body still functioning, not at full capacity, very limited, very stressed, very fearful, and very aware that I am literally surrounded by artificial intelligence. In other words, technology being used against myself, my senses daily. And I'm just going to try to show this. I'm also going to show how the android artificially intelligent beings, human beings that are really artificial intelligence, all over the computer system, control the information, which I was told a few years ago anyway. I think they have a term for this, where basically even the truth, when someone, say like myself, becomes aware of the reality because they close in on you and pretty much openly show their system around you. Of course, they don't always think that you're going to understand what's taking place. They do want you to doubt your reality or doubt your own senses, or just not like myself. I don't doubt my senses, but I still can't cope with what they put in front of my senses, because if you've got like a continual invasion of your senses, in other words, if like right now it's nearly dark, so they can't stage mechanical sounds around me. They can't stage their set up work programs on the street. But if I go outside down to the corner, the artificially intelligent traffic program will take place. In other words, everyone in every vehicle, almost without exception, will have excessively bright lights on their cars. They will flash the lights at you whenever you look at them. This is to disrupt your thinking. This is what they call mental gaslighting. It's actual physical gaslighting, because when it's done by every vehicle, everywhere you look, every time you go outside, basically that's totally taking over my mind, because it's taking over my sight and my sound, particularly when it only has to be one of those. But when it's like, shall we say, if it's excessively loud noise, you can't help but hear it. Even when I put stuff in my ears, unless you have total really soundproof headphones, which is exactly what the work people and the people around that make these noises have. So they don't hear anything. The androids don't hear the sound that they make, but they know they're making sound that will disrupt your senses. That's why they have these great big headphones always on while they're doing work, which is unnecessary to make the amount of sound that they do for the very limited work they do. I mean, think about it. If I can hear someone blowing leaves with one windblower over a block away, is that necessary for blowing a few leaves? No. And the plane is going over as I say that. The plane just went over the roof, and I wasn't going to come out onto the street, but I was going to show how, even though I'm just in this house here, this is where I live, and I've been here quite a long time. I'm going to show how the planes not only follow me around the house, because I don't know what they're going to do. So you can't say this is like that I'm staging it or setting it up. I'm just here and I don't know. They know what I'm going to do, so they don't have to send the planes over. In fact, their technology is set up to my mind. So basically they hear everything I'm saying right now. They can see that I'm looking at this tap here. They can see through my eyes, so they basically are reading my mind, feeling and seeing everything that is me, downloading it onto the computer, and the androids on the computer system interpret it and use it so that they control the internet or the computer system. This is a fact. Proving it is another thing. I can't prove that when I think something, I see an android on the computer system or on the YouTube or the internet pretending to be similar to myself. They do this because the androids want to not just control the human beings, but they like to mimic and copy the human beings, obviously, so that they appear to be more human. Because I suppose it'd probably be a bit of a double game. It gives them probably satisfaction because they're suppressing human beings which are created different to them and have a different god, you could say. The god of this world is Lucifer, the technical god of Earth. And the technical god of Earth, as soon as I said that, there's a plane going over in the background there. See, I couldn't even see it, but can you see it going over there? I'm just going to show something else while I'm here. It'll soon be dark, but I'm going to go up to the top part of this place, up the stairs, and show that because every time I see there's the top part up there, so there's a bedroom up there, and so if I just go up the little stairs, every time, like when it's getting towards dark and they can't keep with the noise program around, although there were people in houses making noise with cleaning appliances, I'm guessing, that I could still hear inside my house. That's another thing too, like why should I have to, like, they've stopped now, but at the, like, see all these houses around here, like there was a house over there, right, which is opposite but further down, and yet I can hear them when they're doing cleaning inside my house. Inside my house here. It's not, well, it's not really my house, but it's where I rent. And inside this place where I'm forced to live because I can't afford any higher rent elsewhere, and because I'm basically isolated and not getting any genuine support from anyone. In other words, even people, if I do speak to them, they are android beings. They are serving the god of Earth. They are serving Lucifer. They're, even if they pretend to be friendly or even offer help, they only offer help with things that you don't want. But if you asked them for something that would really benefit you or get you out of this situation, then they won't give that help. They only offer help with things that they know won't really help you. This is a fact. And the plane is going over. It's only a little plane. It's got propellers on it. Right over my head, but only got little propellers on it. I don't mind the smaller planes because they're not quite as noisy. But I'm just going to show something here that, and I don't know if I can prove it, but I know that it happens every time I go upstairs, up the stairs, and there's no other noise, then, and I'll be thinking something, the plane will go over, emphasising that it's got control over my mind, emphasising that it's reading my mind, emphasising if I'm thinking something, because basically it's artificial intelligence at a very advanced level, and this is what happens to human beings when they target you in the end time, or at my case, at the end of my life, when you become aware of their beings. I don't know if they will accommodate me by showing it, but I'm just going to go up these stairs and show you that the plane will just happen to coincidentally, every time I go up these stairs, up these stairs, see, up the stairs, but I don't want to show the stairs because they're a bit dirty. You know, they're a bit dirty. I'm just gonna turn I might turn the light off because I am so distressed and don't care about anything, so they want you to lose hope. You don't maintain the place as well as what you need to. Also, basically, it's not a home for me. Like when you're surrounded by noise and android beings 24/7, everywhere you go, and even inside the place in the daytime, and even of a night too, but they can't make a lot of excessive noise once it's nearly dark now, so the cut-off time for any sort of work. And of course it's public holiday because these are all holidays where it'll be New Year's Day tomorrow. You know, so it's it'll be the big, so most people are not meant to, they haven't been doing any work much over the little Christmas Day and all that. They don't do work because even though these androids would desire, and certainly their staged traffic program is always in force, no matter what, even on Christmas Day, even though that would be the quietest. See, am I going to prove the point that there is a plane going right over as soon as I speak, over the roof? Can you see? Am I not wrong to suppress me? Can you see it? I should open the door here. Can you see it through the blind? This is where I'm standing. The plane has gone right over the roof and it will be in my line of sight. Can you see it going through the thing? Did I show that? Did I prove the point? As soon as I walked into this room, that plane come over to suppress me, and that's what happens every time. Usually it will start as I'm coming up the stairs. The minute you start to try to get a bit of space, a bit of peace, I'm going to open that thing. I can't prove it, but is that coincidence that every time I'm going to open this shutter here and show you that the plane, they don't have to, but see how they won't let you go for very long. Can you see that? Okay. See, I've opened that shutter. This is upstairs. This is like up the little stairs there. This is like this is the bedroom, okay? This is where I shouldn't even be able to hear everything. They've gone quiet now on the street, but even before you can hear them where they're talking on the street, where they're talking where you shouldn't be able, like if people are on the other side of the road, you shouldn't be able to hear their conversation inside your house, but that's because they literally shout to take over your senses and to make you aware that they're stalking and patrolling you all the time. There is another plane going over, but I can hear it. It's not over the roof. They're playing possum, where they send one plane on one side of the sky and then over your head, so you've got that continual kind of presence going on. But I can't show that plane because I can hear it. But see, that's another thing. See, it's taking over my senses. I'm always, see, that's the roof of the house next door there. See, they've got the and no doubt there's surveillance there. There would be surveillance. There could even be surveillance in the things on the roof. Basically, I'm aware that the artificial intelligence sees everything through my eyes. So they see where you're going and they know where you're going for this reason. But also they have the ability, as I've been told, that even normal civilians can track things these days. And the birds flew in front of me as I said that. So basically, and then you're talking about like the army or the powers that be in your city that control the workforces, because the council, the Inner West Council of say the Inner West, of which the main centre of that, the hub of that, is actually the bus depot, which is just on the corner of the small dead-end street where I am right now, where I live, and that is like an army military base, human mind control centre or program. It's programmed against me because I live here, and because you know, there we go. See, it's telling me, the plane is telling me. See it going over, as I said, that's artificial intelligence reading my mind, literally. Some people call these things like a simulation because, you know, it looks real to me and I just filmed it, so is it not real? But that plane was acknowledging what I was saying, and it does this all the time. In fact, everything around me acknowledges what I'm thinking. It's just that proving that is rather hard on a video. I don't have to prove it to myself, because if I think something and the plane goes over or something else happens right in front of me, and this happens all day, every day, you know, all the time, like it's not just coincidence, because if it was just now and again, I would put it down to coincidence. But of course, when you realise that they know where you're going and that they're stalking, following you, and that you don't have 2 minutes, like if I go outside this place, the minute I go outside and decide to go down the main street or anywhere in this suburb of Leichhardt, basically I am monitored, you know, all the time. In other words, like wherever I look, I will have their presence. I will never be allowed to be alone for more than about 15 seconds. That's the ultimate amount of time that I won't have them coming into my sight or my sound, or making their presence felt, these beings, one way or another, whether it be a plane going over, a vehicle coming past, a vehicle pulling in front of you, people coming into your line of sight, watching you, pretending that they're doing random normal things. But it wouldn't matter what time of night or day either. It could be 2 or 3 in the morning, because obviously I've tried to, over the last 7 years, tried to escape it at all different times, and it makes no difference. In fact, there shouldn't even be the amount of traffic that follow me around when it's, say, 2 or 3 in the morning. In reality, the roads should be almost empty, but when I'm there, they're full, as though it's daytime. And if I pointed that out to someone, they would use some made-up excuse for it, saying, oh, like they're coming back from the city from the clubs, even though it might be a Sunday when most of the clubs, and you also know that there's the plane going over. See, the planes are going over as I speak. This is about this is about the quietest and the most subdued that I can get it, unless I go make a video at say 2 or 3 in the morning, which I sometimes do downstairs, and do that. But the minute I go outside the place, even if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, they put their mind control program, or just really their stalking, patrol, surveillance system around me. In other words, they just surround you, and they make their presence felt, and you're not allowed to live your own life. You're not allowed to be not surrounded by them. And if they think that you ignore them, say when they're civilians on foot, and then they will flash the bright headlights in your eyes so that you can't help but notice them, and also so that it's disturbing because that's unpleasant. Or they will make the vehicles make excessively aggressive, loud noises. It just depends on what reaction they're getting out of you, because basically they're trying to bring you down. They're trying to make you into a low energy, negative person, like they are. They're bringing you down to their frequency and vibration, as they say, because that way they keep control of the area and they keep control of you, because they don't want normal, natural, happy people around. They don't want that, because they're artificial intelligence and they're about control. They don't as the psychopathic androids on the internet will tell you when they're explaining the psychopathy or the psychology of, say, a psychopath, which is the same thing, because these beings are really psychopathic android beings. It's the same difference. They will actually tell you that they do not experience positive human emotions. They don't experience most human emotions, in fact. They're all about power and control. See? Plane is going over. Where is it coming from? Where's the plane coming? Is it going to go over my head? Yes, there it is, over my head. I'm only sorry that I can't show how low that plane is, because I need to zoom in to show how big that plane really is. To my naked eye, because the mobile makes it look further away, unfortunately, which is why it's very hard to prove this mind control patrol system, artificial intelligence, literally surrounding the few remaining human beings in this suburb of Leichhardt, in the inner west mind control section of the city of Sydney, and Sydney is the capital city of Australia. And my name is Patricia Gilligan, and I live in Henry Street. As I said, there's a great big church almost opposite. Can you see it through the thing there? Maybe not. See that building there, that grey building behind that tree there? That is the great big church, and I'm not quite opposite, but almost opposite on Henry Street. And I don't even know why I'm saying that, because I'm isolated, and basically it makes no difference. The androids laugh at me round here. They just sort of wait. They just use all the information of what it is to be human while you're alive, and then they eventually get rid of you. That's what they're doing, I've probably only got a couple of years struggling on anyway, because, I'm over 60. And I should still be young, because until they came down on me, although I was an older person, I felt the same as when I was, say, 30, when I was 50. And I actually didn't give the impression, because basically I felt okay. Or I was getting above it. Even at my worst, I still, in the past, even at my worst, I still, because you're a human being, you're always trying to make light of things. You're always trying to find something to smile about, whereas the androids don't know how to do that, because psychopathic, narcissistic, paranoid types of human beings, which really is just another description of artificial intelligence. These personality types of human beings are not human beings. They're a different species. They are an artificially conceived species or, being. It's just that because they look human, talk human, and imitate being human from other human beings, and as they have the ability now with the advanced artificially intelligent using technology to be able to read the human mind, because the science and the powers that be have the technology to do this, they are using it against average civilians in this end game. And the plane is going to acknowledge what I'm just saying. Is it not going to come over my head and answer as if to say, yes, that's what we're doing and there's nothing you can do about it? See? Plain telling. That's a military jet going over, acknowledging, and probably just laughing at me, really. And that's the way it is. And I'm just going to fold up here because as soon as I turn this off, another plane will come over the roof until they force me to go downstairs, because they want to control you wherever you go, even if you go that's right, you go upstairs to get away from, if you can hear stuff downstairs. At this time they can't do anything. As you can see, it's nearly dark, but it's still light because we have daylight savings in the city of Sydney. That's where they changed the time. In other words, they changed the clock to where it should actually be dark right now, but because they've changed the clock to make the light last longer, but they still have to stop their mechanical work at about 5 anyway, because they make laws and things and they abide by them. In other words, they secretly suppress you using laws, abiding by certain laws, but using those laws also against you at different times. See, like the planes are still going over. See? Is that plane going over here? Yes. See? You'd be able to hear how loud it is if I opened the window, but my ears can certainly hear those planes. They go right over the roof here. If I try to have a nap, say in the daytime, particularly because I often stay up very late of a night, sometimes all night, and then I'll have a sleep in the daytime, so then they bring the planes right over the roof. But I'm used to it, so it only disrupts me if my mind is still awake, if I'm agitated, which is quite a lot of the time, because you're always not able to not be aware of this matrix or these beings around. That's the problem with being in this reality, is that because they are so suppressive, and because it's not like you've just got one or two stalkers, in other words, a couple of people that have got some sort of fixation on you and want to make your life unpleasant. No, when it's a whole suburb and the whole inner west, which is like a couple of 100,000 people, and they're all combining in a systematic program around you every day, using vehicles and random mechanical devices and staged work scenarios around you daily to suppress your senses and to make, in other words, to take over your mind, to control your reality. Because if you've always got like their presence around you, and sometimes when it's completely unbearable and disruptive, like where you've got incredibly loud negative sounds, like with the work, and even just their presence where they stand around in their military army uniforms, letting you know that they are all part of the system. In other words, it would be exactly like them wearing army uniforms, because they know when they put on those work uniforms that are all the same colour, they know that you know that they're all an army. See, all an army. The plane went over acknowledging that that plane is part of the army too, even though it looks like a plane as though it's going somewhere. But the only place it's really going is over my head. Of course, it could go somewhere else after it's gone over my head, but those planes follow me wherever I go. But they always have a logical explanation for their patrolling. But it becomes not logical for me when it's all the time. You know, like if you had the occasional digging up of the roads, or the occasional, garden maintenance around an area or something, or you see the occasional person late of a night walking their dog through the park. But if they never leave you alone to where you can never be on your own and not aware of their presence, that's when you know that you have a staged patrol system around you. That's the difference. And that's when they have decided to take what they can get out of you. They read your mind. They imitate being a real human being. So they study and watch me to see what I'm doing, and then they copy what I'm doing while they drive me insane. Basically, that is the name of their game. So they pretend to be human because they will copy good and bad things about me, I notice. It doesn't have to be always something good. It could like examples of that where, as a human being, if you lose interest in things, you might not care particularly about how you dress or that sort of thing. But, you know, when I'm like that, you will see an awful sloppy suburb around me. You'll see very few people really well dressed, because they're like, she doesn't dress well and she's the human, and we're only here to compete with humanity, because they're about pretending to be human and competing only with the remaining human beings that are left in any given area. That was a bird that just flew past. It's a pity that there's a window on this where I could open it to show, because it's better. But I'm going to go downstairs and show some... see, as you can see, my body shouldn't be racked with pain or stiff from the continual barrage of some sort of electronic weapons that they send at my body 24/7. But it's invisible technology, so I can't stop it. It's being sent at me from places around me. It's like military operation, which we know the military can do this. It's just that you wonder why they'd be doing it at, say, an ordinary old lady. But that's because there's not many human beings left. That was my deduction, and the plane is acknowledging that. Can you see it telling me? The artificially intelligent plane with its android pilots are telling me that that is the case. Can you see it? Probably not. Probably not. And I was going to go down and show the androids telling you about their mindset on the... and a big bike just made a loud noise. You know, I can hear bikes that are a block away on the main road, a block away, 2 blocks away, and I can hear them inside my house because they're making such astronomical aggressive sounds. That is not normal, and it's very, and of course it is frightening. Yes, it is, because you wonder, you take it personally, and of course, even though you know that they are maybe not real human beings. That doesn't matter. In fact, it's worse, because you're like, what can you do? You can't reason with them. You can't make them change their mind. You can't say, you couldn't go up and have a conversation and say, why are you doing this? It's not necessary. You know that I only go down the road and pick up some groceries and don't do anything and don't really care about yous, don't want to harm yous, or I'm only making these videos because I think I've got nothing to lose. You know, otherwise I'd probably say, who cares? Because if artificial intelligence or even android beings are neutral and don't actually do you any harm, there's no reason for me to be saying anything. But they have a psychopathic nature, evidently. They actually do seek to control human beings because they don't experience, because they're not human and they don't know how to live or just be a normal human. In other words, because like that android, that psychopath, self-confessed psychopathic, narcissistic, malignant, psychopathic, narcissistic android informer on the internet said the 7 things that an android or a psychopathic type narcissistic paranoid being doesn't feel are happiness, sadness, remorse, guilt, contentment, any form of joy or or happiness. They don't experience any of those things. So as you can imagine, they are not human at all, and they cannot be placated. See, plane going over. As I say that, I just have to show it through the curtain because I closed the shutter. Can you see it going through the thing? There it goes. Oh, I don't think I filmed it, got lost in the clouds, but it did go over. I don't know whether the mobile picks up the loud sound. They're literally right over my roof and they can come as low as they like. And they do that accordingly to keep me feeling suppressed and basically unhappy. But you see what I was making that point. Got to get down these stairs now. They're a bit steep for me because they suppress my body and send direct energy at my body all the time. And because I'm mentally not able to withstand it because I'm unhappy. So therefore they can slowly deteriorate your body. It's slowly too, because it's not like, sometimes it can hit you where you feel it. You know, you can feel the energy at you. But most of the time that depends on my frequency and vibration. They have literally, over the last few years, a few times, literally nearly killed me with the physical energy that they've sent at me. But most of the time, it's low energy that hits me, but it gradually deteriorates and weakens your legs and your body and can create different diseases and things, and even infections, all sorts of things that you're always experiencing. And you know what causes it because you feel these things, but it's not like severe pain. But if you get really low in your mental state, then they can, and they have on occasion hit me with where you actually can't stand it, and to where you literally could be killed, and you would even wish to. You couldn't stand it for more than about, say 2 minutes, because it's like, and that I think is when they get you, it's very, and they do these things only when they want to get rid of you, I think, and that will depend on how they are perceiving it, I would imagine, because most of the time it's just continual slow suppression at a physical and mental level. And they just use your senses against you. And this android being on the, I'll just get down these stairs slowly here because they're winding and steep for me. Even though, of course, a few years ago I could probably run up and down them. That's because they do that. The plane is going over as I say that, but I can't film the plane, but I might, because I want to show how it really is a mind control simulation, but it's very hard to show it. This being here will explain what they are. Notice how they've got the duality symbolism on it. That is duality. That is showing you that they're an artificial intelligence, really. And that they want to, that's transhumanism. See, the human combining with the technology. And just the, you know, it's very hard to actually show these things or to prove them. And it's like, watch this video before artificial intelligence does this to you. But essentially, they're doing it now. And they know that they're doing it. This being reads my mind. All the beings on the internet read the mind the minute you turn the screen on. In fact, they download your thoughts back at you as soon as they know that you're experiencing or understanding something. This was 13 hours ago. Also, they do change the dates on these videos too. That's another thing that I will say. They change the dates. They change the dates to keep the human being completely buried alive in this internet, like myself making this recording. Because if I realise something before them, they will make the date before I think it, or before I speak it, or before I say it. That's largely just controlling the internet or the computer system, and the plane is going over as I say that to acknowledge that what I said is true. See? Can I show that? That the plane is going over as I said that. See, as soon as I said that, I had to be very quick, even though my knees are still very stiff after, you know, a fall not that long ago. In fact, I've had many falls. That's because I'm disorientated on the street by the swirling traffic around me and these beings surrounding me. And, you know, they basically set it up to where you get so disorientated that you fall over. And also they are sending invisible energy at you a lot of the time. It won't knock you over to where you are powered by it. But if they're sending slight negative energy from the houses as you go past even, it won't knock you over. And in fact, if you were feeling okay, you could actually, it doesn't affect you at all. But if you're disorientated by the traffic around you and you're very aware of their presence, which they mainly make you aware of all the time, then you basically, or in other words, they're using a combination of things so that it's so that way it doesn't show that they really, in other words, if their real intentions were shown, they're psychopathic. They're psychopathic. And basically that means that they would attack you openly. But they can't do that without incriminating themselves and getting themselves. So they have to have these minions. The legions of Lucifer are many, as they say. Basically, these legions of Lucifer that they talk about in religious terms are the artificially intelligent android beings that make up most cities. And basically they're all combined. They're using technology to play a game with a human being because, you know, when you're involved in this, you actually realise that it's entertainment for them because they're spending all their time and energy patrolling and watching you, pulling in and out of you with their cars, coming past you making loud noises, staging set up work systems. And you have to say, why were they doing this? Because they're getting the energy from you. That's what they call them, energy Their energy, they're consumers of the human energy because they are relatively lifeless. Because they're relatively lifeless. In other words, because they're artificial intelligent or psychopathic, which means they don't experience all those positive human emotions, the 7 things that the narcissist does not feel, which I showed in the video yesterday. Basically, the 7 things are happiness, sadness. They don't experience basic human emotions of any sort of happiness or any sort of sadness. They're neutral to, they're indifferent to a human being's feelings, and they're indifferent to their own, evidently. Because if they don't experience sadness either, they don't experience any form of contentment, which is why they're continually patrolling, continually paranoid, continually stalking, continually watching, because they're continually trying to get the energy and get the reaction out of a human being, and they're continually trying to suppress the human being because they can't stand to see any happiness, evidently. And you know that because the minute you do try to, even when you interact with them, the minute you smile about something or try to make light of something, even when you're aware of what they are, they get quite angry. They will actually show that. You will experience that in your own personal reactions. Interactions, I mean. And they will suppress that. They will immediately try to make you unhappy. You know, you see that, and it's very disturbing because you're like, oh, if I'm trying to make you, because sometimes you might be trying to make them smile, you might be trying to make them happy, but they don't like that either. They don't like any of that. That's how you know it, when you're interacting with them and they get angry and immediately will pour cold water on your, if you laugh at something, they'll pour cold water on it. Unless they're cracking some sort of, I would say some sort of more joke where you don't really see it as funny, but they think it's funny. I've experienced that too, because that's another way where they're trying to warp your mind into a negative way of thinking like they do. You notice that even their sense of humour is not the same as yours. I have experienced that in my own personal relationships with people in the past. And even now, you would, when I interact or have to, see, it depends on your relationships and your life, but you try to, you think that, oh, if you make things light and a bit more pleasant, even though you're aware of what they're doing, you think that that gives them the attention and the admiration that they want. But it seems to me that it only works in very fleeting relationships. In other words, very fleeting, what you'd call, what's that? You know, where you just have a very brief encounter with someone, not a close relationship in any way, or not where you see someone regularly, but you know, a acquaintance, where it's just an acquaintance, or just a random person that you might occasionally, you might, you know, smile at someone because they're walking the dog and you think the dog's cute, and you're trying to distract yourself away from the reality that you know that most of the dog walkers are android beings using the dog to make themselves look more human and an animal lover, when in reality they're indifferent to you, the animal, and even themselves in many ways, because they don't, because as that being said, This one will tell you the same thing. They're literally telling on themselves, they're telling you their mindset, but most of them pretend to be human informants or human information seekers. They will even be your psychologists and your psychiatrists and your philosophers and your gurus, those that tell you, speak of enlightenment and all this sort of thing. And that's because they are the controllers of the internet. The internet is not for me. I'm making this recording now, but I'm buried alive on the internet. In other words, my recordings or my videos will not be seen by anyone, but the androids will covet the internet. They'll take that over. They have taken it over. There's very few real human beings. There's no real human beings that are successful on the internet. In other words, there's no human beings on the internet that get enough views or enough attention to where they're seen or heard at all. And they certainly wouldn't be benefiting from it. In fact, they're just wasting their time like I am. Wasting their time and energy and, whereas the controllers of the internet, the truth tellers of the internet, will be Lucifer's last line of defence, even with the truth. Truth will be only spoken by android beings, or at least only heard by large numbers of people, and will be spoken by android beings. So real human beings will be suppressed and limited in their daily life, and when they try to tell you what's going on, they won't be heard. The androids will pretend to be the humans and they will take the humans' place. So therefore they're still keeping control of the earth. If you follow what I'm trying to say there. So the suppressed human beings, like most of these ones, will pretend to have been targeted by the Matrix or targeted by Lucifer's legions. They will pretend to be the few remaining human beings. That's their camouflage, that's their end game. Plane is going over as I say that. I'm just going to play this being, because I have to admit that the androids, the artificial intelligence that controls the internet, does it better than a human being, because they can be a better imitation of life. They will be a better imitation of a real, truth-telling human being even. And I'm just going to play this little bit here, if I can, before it's dark. The planes will keep going, no doubt, till midnight. That's hours of them going over every, at least every 30 seconds to a minute. But that will depend on where I go, what they can patrol me with, But I basically, around here, the amount of buses that leave the bus depot, as soon as I go outside, the buses pile in and out of the bus depot. Whereas in reality, they should only leave early in the morning and come back at the closure of the finish of the bus routes at, say, 1:30 in the morning. That should be the finish. But if I go there, there'll be buses going there any time of night or day. They always come in front of me as soon as I hit the corner at the end of the small dead-end street just where I'm here. Without fail. Doesn't matter what time. And there'll always be cars that are parked there. But basically it's something you can't show, but you know that the cars parked there that just happen to leave their bright headlights right in your eyes. And that then if you look away from that, you'll be looking at a car just coming around the corner, blinking its lights at you, flickering its blinking lights. Many of the cars now are fitted with blinking lights to where they're flashing and blinking every time they pull up at the lights. This is all how they've changed the vehicles so that it is mentally disturbing for a human being, so that way they can put it as part of their sight and sound program. This I can't prove, but it is a fact. The plane is going over as I say that, and the siren is going on a police vehicle that is far away, but I can still hear it. Plane going over, but I'm not going to go out there. I can only hope that the mobile is picking up the sound, showing that I'm not making any of this up. Why would I make it up? No one listens to the videos. I'm going to call this video, I think, Buried Alive on the internet or by the computer system, because essentially I'm alive, but I'm buried alive because I'm not heard. I'm talking to myself literally talking to myself, while the android beings, the artificial intelligence that's pretending to be a perfect imitation of a real human being, will be the only ones that will be controlling the internet and even informing you of this situation. And that's the only problem with the truth in the end time, is that it will not be told, or at least the real humans will be buried alive on the internet, while the android beings will pretend to be a real human being. The android beings will pretend to be the suppressed, limited, last human beings that are left. Because gradually they're telling the truth that the numbers are different in the reality. Every time I watch a video, they are making the numbers more on how many psychopathic, narcissistic, paranoid types of human beings, or those that have severe mental anti-human disturbances, because all psychopaths, as we're told, don't feel for a human being. They don't have human emotions. So really, they're just describing a technical being, aren't they? Or a cyborg, or a robot, whatever word you want to use. It doesn't matter. We can use any words, but they're basically not a feeling, normal, positive human being, and they don't want to be, they don't try to be, and you can't even communicate with them that way, because they don't understand that. They pretend to be human, they pretend to understand, but they don't get it. If you don't feel happiness, you can pretend to be happy, like the androids laugh and joke around me. That's because they know that they've made me depressed. So it's like, oh, we're happy and you're sad, so when they laugh and joke, it makes you feel even worse, because they're pretending that they're having a ball and that they've got control of your local area, whereas they know that you're surrounded by them and you're actually feeling very anxious and very depressed almost. You feel hopeless. You're like, how can you get away from them all? Why can't they leave you alone even for more than, they won't leave you alone for more than 30 seconds. They'll have to make their presence felt all the time. They don't want you to live at all. Literally, the plane is starting to go over as I say that. I'm going to play this thing here of this one, just as an example of them telling on themselves. You could play hundreds of all these people's videos, thousands of videos, million videos on the YouTube, on the internet. The YouTube is part of the internet, part of the computer system. But, they have all different sections. I can only access the YouTube. And basically they They control all of that. I've only found in the truth-telling genre section of YouTube, anyone that is successful is not a real human being. This is my observation. And sometimes they nearly convince me they're so good at imitating being a human being, and you relate so strongly to them because they will relay back to you your own experience of your own life. They literally are copying human beings' experience in life and pretending it's theirs. That's just so that they can camouflage their true identity and what they really are, I think. Okay.
Or they plan and coordinate the elements of a situation so that you react, and then they can assert their will on you. They will isolate you so that they can become your only source of influence, in the hopes that you will begin to doubt yourself and have undying faith in the very person who is abusing you. Or they may even start a smear campaign against you and enforce blind monkeys to do their bidding on their behalf. But they will try to sensitize you to certain stimuli and try to turn your own senses against you.
Turn your senses against you.
They will manipulate your sense of sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, movement, and even body awareness.
Yes, yes.
They will do everything in their power to turn you against yourself, yes, until you become one of them.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. They're telling you what they do. Even I couldn't put it that well. In fact, I have to experience things, and then I turn on the YouTube and they tell me what I'm experiencing, literally, in a much more succinct way, shall we say, And literally, that's transhumanism too, because don't forget they are combining with my mind. They're taking what it is that is me, and clearly they want to take humanity from a human being. Because then I guess it makes them God. Certainly gives them control. I don't know how to explain it. There's lots of things, see, see, that just come up. I didn't pick these things. I'll have to show that. Plane is going over as I showed that, see. So I am stalked for knowing too much now, even though I have found out more as times went on over the last number of years, because I've tried to find out why they were doing it to me. Why I was being stalked, why they were trying to make me unhappy and, limit even my already limited existence, why they begrudge you going down onto the main street to pick up your supplies, why they begrudge you buying a cup of coffee. And that's because they are artificial and they are watching a human being in a very detailed, minute manner. So they actually tend to, you sense that. You see that they're stopping you from doing things that they could easily do. Very mundane, ordinary things they begrudge you doing that they can easily copy and do. And there's no reason they couldn't have as much pleasure as you. And of course they assume you're getting more pleasure, I think, than what you actually are. That's because they're really, because they're all about control, and everything is about controlling and competing with a human being. They see a human being as competition, as a threat to them, as a threat to their sense of what these beings will tell you, their sense of superiority, because if they really know, they're trying to be a false god, aren't they? Yes. They're trying to be a false god. I haven't watched this video, whereas I've watched millions of all these other because obviously that's another reason why, I've said this before, the reason they have so many different types, reason they have so many different types of apparently individual humans saying similar things, you know, like informing the truth or talking about the psychology of the psychopathic, narcissistic, paranoid, controlling type of human being, and saying that they're expanding in numbers and that's the society we are now living in. This is right. That's because they know that you're aware of it. Plane is going over as I say that. It's going over the roof as I say that. Going over the roof as I say that, see? It should be dark by now, but see, they extend the time, but it looks as though it's going to be a murky night too. Look how grey the sky is. And everyone's gone quiet. There's no cars pulling in front of me. If I wasn't recording, there would be a car pulling in right in front of me. And it wouldn't matter what time, but they do play possum when I record. Unless they don't mind if it's occasional. You know what I mean? Like if I just show... Because I can't show that every day, on a normal weekday, that they will have some staged mechanical work around me, just in this very place here. And I can't, you know, I don't take the mobile with me to show that even when I walk just for a block or so down here, that there will always be some noise, or the intrusive, loud traffic surveillance system will come around me. And that there are large trucks on streets where there never used to be large trucks, because these vehicles are very loud and large and they take over your senses, and that they shouldn't be on small back streets, for instance. But I can't prove that. I know that to be a fact myself, because I've lived here for a long time, and you know that those vehicles shouldn't be on those particular roads. But if I walk on those roads to get away from where they're on the main road, they will follow you there. And the way that they, it's just the whole program, the way that they, the traffic literally stalks and patrols you. It literally comes up around you to take your energy. Literally does it. You can actually feel it. You sense it. But also you can just see it. You're like, how come the minute I come up, the traffic slows up? How come it always slows up when you come up to a corner? How come it always is in front of you with its flashing lights? How come wherever you look, there will always be a car coming around the corner in front of you? It doesn't matter what street it is. It doesn't matter. See, the plane is acknowledging that. Oh, over my head. Birds on the electricity wire there. And apart from that, everything is quiet. But see, I will be going, if I still have the energy, I haven't got a fridge, so I have to go down the road to get milk and food, because I can't store anything. And I actually haven't got a fridge or a stove at the present time. And they make it so that psychologically and physically you're always living more limited. And some of it you do to yourself, like that android actually told you on the thing. Because they set up fear, they want to control your mind. Until they can get you to depart the earth, because the only reason I'm still alive is because they're using my human way of thinking and just my human actions even to their advantage, so they can imitate what it is to be a human. And you see this everywhere you go, and even on the internet. You know that, like, if just the human things that they don't really relate to, because they don't really want to walk the dogs, they don't really want to push the prams, they don't really want to feed the birds, they don't really want to look at nature. To them it's all the same, because I think that because they're like, because they're a machine, they don't, they're sort of, and if they don't experience those 7 things that the android tells you that psychopaths don't experience happiness. See how those 2 people down there are pushing their windows out in that house on the balcony as soon as I looked up, but the mobile won't pick that up, but they're actually come out onto the balcony. As soon as my sight went there, because I was actually focused on the ground, they won't be able to, even though it's now late, the sun's about to go down and it's nearly New Year's Day, so they're probably more preoccupied with trying to pretend to be human and celebrate New Year's Day. In reality, if you don't experience happiness, figure that one out yourself. If psychopaths can't experience any form of happiness, although all these psychopaths will be celebrating the fireworks and New Year's Day and hugging and kissing and all that sort of stuff, pretending they're happy, pretending they're glad it's another new year. The only thing they're glad about is another year of stalking, patrolling and bringing me down. That's all they look forward to. They do not experience happiness. We're told this, and the plane is acknowledging this as I speak it. It's coming over to say, yes, that's an artificially intelligent, mind-controlling plane over my head. And does anyone believe that that plane is reading my thoughts and going over my head? Does anyone believe that this inner west section of city is that controlled? Does anyone believe that the technology is that advanced? In reality, if you looked into the military and the army, you would know that they have that technology. It's just that most people don't understand that it's being used to surround and suppress just average human civilians. It is being used to control the mind of a over 60-year-old lady in this suburb of Leichhardt in the capital city of Sydney in the country of Australia. And I'm just going to fold up here. If I can, when it's dark, I'm going to later just take the mobile just halfway down the dead-end street where I live here, just past here, just a bit further down, and show the blow-up flickering light dog. That, see how that car is pulling out as soon as in my line of sight, but the mobile won't pick it up. As soon as I look just on the street there, the patrol car pulled out of its already planted, all these cars. Doesn't matter what time of day or night, there will always be a car or people coming out of their houses at the minute I go down the street. That was in my line of sight, but unfortunately the mobile won't pick it up. Yes, see 2 people coming out in my line of sight. See how I said that? As soon as I come out. Can you see it? Not going to be picked up by the mobile. See that one walking across the road? That out of every house, wherever I go, they will just gradually, it looks all natural. See, they're pulling out the same car, pulled out in front, in that same spot, and now another one is going to pull out right in front, in the same spot. It's a coincidence, and that they come out of the houses and the plane is going over in the distance there, but essentially that's all staged. So that means that every person on the street, like if I go down there, as I walk just down to the end of the dead-end street before I hit the mind-controlled bus depot, which is nothing but a artificially intelligent military base camouflaged as a big bus depot, basically those two people are in my line of sight, and they come out of the house and they're going to pull out the car in the same spot that the car pulled out just as soon as I looked at it. But if I walk down this street right now, which I'm not going to do, there will be people that will come out of their houses, or cars that will just appear to randomly pull out as I go past. They will always be doing that. It will never be to where at any time I could walk down just this small dead-end street, doesn't matter what time of night or day, where someone will not come out of the house, or where a vehicle will not be patrolling and pulling out as I go past. Usually it will be many people as I go down, and it looks natural. But what are the chances really of that? I know that, but I can't film that or show that, because it will look random and natural. But this would not be normally possible every day of the week, that you will always get that. And I'm going to go back inside, because I don't even know why I'm showing these planes going over, or why I'm doing that. I'm going to finish up. It'll soon be New Year's Day. Another year has passed, another wasted year of my life taken up by these beings around me. I'm not going to go out there again to show those planes or any people lurking around. They lurk around. I couldn't show that. I would need to zoom in. But my eyes pick up those people. My eyes pick up the car going and its bright headlights. Bright red lights on the back. They have these bright red lights all on the back of the vehicles, which is red is the colour of Lucifer, the god of this earth. And they have the exceptionally bright headlights on vehicles, on cars, but also all over trucks. They will have flashing bright lights. This is not normal, unnecessary in a city that has already excessively bright street lights, for vehicles to have bright flashing lights all over them. But they do this in this area. That is to take my attention and my focus on them, so that I cannot walk around without being aware and completely drawn into their presence. They literally are hypnotizing me with bright flashing lights, to where I have no reality or no life of my own daily. Of a night time, it's the bright flashing lights. Even in the daytime, they leave the bright headlights on the cars. Not normal, not natural. Why would you have high beam headlights on when the sun is belting down and it's 40 degrees? Obviously it doesn't affect you so much when you see the bright headlights. You're just aware of their presence. But of a night time, those bright flashing lights in your eyes are overwhelming. They literally disorientate you to where, like this truth-telling being is describing their own mindset, basically actually says that yes, they will disorientate you to where you can hardly put one foot in front of the other, to where you fall over and crack your skull like I did and injure my knees, because then you can't get round. I'm lucky to have recovered from those things. In fact, I actually felt that when I went over that I should have been much more injured on all the times that I have invisibly been literally pushed over. Even low, I can't prove that. If someone deliberately disorientates you, and thousands of people are combined, these legions of Lucifer are surrounding you. These android beings are combining to get your energy and to take you out. They want to do it slowly so that they can use all the information about you before you're gone. That's what I'm aware of. Because if they're using it on the internet and pretending to be human, because they want to imitate being the most human of humans, because that way it makes them appear more genuine. So when they're telling the truth, if they then pretend that they like feeding the birds, or if they, they have the dogs or the cats, because they see that maybe I like the dogs and the cats and the birds and the animals. That's just an example of it, but there's every other example. They know that I might like to go near the water, but they stop me from getting to the water. So then the androids will go to the water. Most of these videos are totally staged and set up. In reality, if you're not trying to make a point, you'd probably film a video in a studio. You wouldn't even go outside, but they copy the human beings that think that way to make themselves look more natural and more normal. And I can't explain this very well. It's very hard to show it. I was going to show the funny cat video, which one of the androids had downloaded, because it is funny. You know, what a cat would sing instead of a stairway to heaven. But actually that's how they look at it. They think it's a stairway to their heaven, which I think that is a demigod music song. You know, a classic song, one that I've never liked, but maybe that's why, because maybe I'll sense that that's them thinking they can make their own heaven, and that they can rise above heaven, or that they can rise above God, rise above human beings, and be higher than what in religious terms they say they want to be higher than the Most High. And I've heard this. I heard this a few days ago. I'm well aware that they want to have total control. Plane is going over with a very negative sound as I say that. Not going to run out to show it. You know, by the time I get to the door it will be over the roof, but the mobile won't pick that up, but that's just acknowledging. But I could, but what a cat would sing instead. But that's actually more like their mindset too, because I'm going to show this just for a bit of light relief. I'm going to show it only in the sense that I've watched it a few times. I'll have to turn this down because of copyright. I can't show a real lot, but so I'll try to show the point that they're making. And yes, they actually show you how the elite androgynes, or just the androgynes that are on your screens, whether it be TV shows or any information at all, they do show you in these videos that they are actually, see how they're actually showing this? See how they're actually showing that they said they're gladiators. And essentially that's how they see themselves. Because they can't experience any of the 7 human emotions. Androids don't experience 7 more positive human emotions. So they're all about control. So yes, so their life is really being a gladiator against a human being. Their whole purpose and their whole mindset, because they're a machine being, because an android can't experience happiness, sadness, the 7 human emotions that they can't experience. They basically only, I'm not sure why they have to experience anger and envy and resentment and the need for control, and why they can't experience the happiness, the sadness, the contentment, the joy, and don't have any sense of guilt or remorse about controlling and suppressing and eliminating human beings. They don't experience any form of guilt, I'm told, and psychopaths don't. We know this. It's all the same thing. It's all the same beings. Wouldn't matter if they were human beings that are all just psychopathic, and society has now become a psychopathic dark city. I was going to show the, where there was a video where it said, where it was telling me that I live in an evil, dark energy city. Well, they don't have to put that, they don't have to tell me that or relay that back to me by my own thoughts, because I already know that. The plane is going over as I say that, telling me that that is true. I already know that it's an evil, dark energy control system city. So, why? Evil, dark city. Yeah, well, of course, there was that that movie that actually explained that everything around a human being is being staged and set up, and that's why they call that movie Dark City. And it's just that it's probably so much more set up and messing with the reality, what I think, because in light of the reality that human beings thought, and I've been saying this for a few years now, human thought combined with how you're thinking and feeling, makes up the reality. And this is why they try to control the human being. That's why they try to control me. Lucifer's wind is blowing up. They even control the elements, yes. They can make it rain, which they probably will, because if they think that I'm going to need to go down to get some milk or something, they will, they do these things all the time. You become very aware of it when you say this is not coincidence. The tree's blowing up there. I'm just going to film that tree in front of the place there. It's only half a tree because they got rid of half because they like to control the street, even though of course they make out that they're a very green area. They will get rid of some of the big old trees and then plant these little tiny bushes and say how they're all about conserving the natural world. But it's all staged and set up and about control. It's about being seen to want to be part of nature and about some sort of, good high vibration, but in reality it's only about being seen. It's the same as the images of the demigods or the images of the androids all over the internet. It's all about them pretending to be beings and doing things that they're not really interested in. It's all about control, nothing more. Bird is acknowledging that. All about control, nothing more. Absolutely nothing more than about control. And they're playing possum and gone quiet now on the street. But, it's New Year's Day nearly, so they have to focus on making sure that no human beings are too happy about the prospect of another year or can join in the celebrations of the fireworks. There's a little bird on that wire there. It's only little, he won't come out. I suppose I might finish up with a song, because I wasn't going to film this. Like I say, I'll go down, if I've got the energy, I'd like to, because they'll be taking that big blow up dog that's just not many doors down from here. They'll light it up as soon as it's dark, which won't be long now. And they'll be taking it down after tomorrow. Of course, it's after New Year. It's been up just before Christmas, and I meant to film it because when I made one of the first videos, when I started on this particular little completely failed channel where the only person that views my videos is actually me. There's 1 or 2 views on a few of the videos, and I noticed that that's after I've looked at them to see if I did the sound or something okay. So basically I've got no views at all on any of this whole hundreds of videos that I've been sort of putting out over the last year, because I remember that blow up dog was on some of them, and so it's like just over a year since I have done it, and I would even do a lot more, it's just that I don't have the energy, or I have the inclination, but of course I know there's no point to it, because if you don't get anyone to watch, most of the ones that have even got they're all my views. A couple I've watched more than once, so some of them, but basically patrol car, yeah, they start up, but I can't prove that. But all these cars that are parked all over Leichhardt, you have cars parked every single where you look, and basically the android beings can get in and out of any car, so they actually have access to all these cars because they're part of the city human control patrol system. That might sound a bit far-fetched to some people, but it is actually the total reality. Birds are chirping in acknowledgement. That's also part of it, because it's all mind control. Most of the human beings, I mean, it's very hard for me to explain this, but it's as though most of the human beings are totally programmed and under total mind control. That is the thinking virus of Lucifer. He infiltrates the mind of these beings. Lucifer's legions infiltrate the mind of the android beings. Or, if you want to put it another way, takes over the mind of psychopathic human beings, because psychopathic human beings have the same mind. But I think personally that it's like Lucifer's fragmented mind, bits and pieces of his mind in all these millions and billions actually of individual psychopathic human beings. But they're really, most of them are artificial intelligence. But it wouldn't matter whether it was a psychopathic, paranoid, controlling, narcissistic human being, or whether it's a total artificial survival machine being, because they all have the same interaction with a human being. They all combine in their city patrol systems. I don't know if there are some that are not conscious of it, in other words, like they're individual psychopaths that are just left to play havoc with, say, a real human being, but most are definitely part of a systematic set-up stage patrol system. And whether that is just mind control or whether they are consciously using technology to combine against you, which I think is probably without a doubt the case with most of them, that they are consciously aware that they are in a community or a city control patrol system. And the plane, is there a plane going to acknowledge that or not? But I'm aware of that because you can see that many of them are signaling to one another, and that they're oh wait on, what are the birds doing? What are the birds doing? What are the birds doing? What are they doing? Oh, there's a patrol car flicking its lights just down there at me too, but it's just pulling out. But the mobile, I need to have a zoom to show that my eyes pick that up. The birds were just playing there in the thing, so I just thought I'd film that, but they got frightened away. See how the plane has come further out to go over my head, because it was over the roof there before, but see how it's come right over me as soon as I come just out onto the street. Don't know if that's going to be shown clearly by the mobile, but see how it's wherever I go, these jets. go over my head or follow me around, you know. And I'll just finish up with a song. If it wasn't New Year's Day, it would be a lot more. But they stage everything so that it looks random and more natural than what it actually is. That's why it's impossible to film, to show a city matrix. It really is. It just is. It's just impossible to show that. But they do. See how they say chaos and all this sort of stuff? Vikings, see, they're gladiators. They're actually, that's what they promote on the screen these days too. That's what they promote. They promote the androgyne superior being. They promote their own kind. And this is right. They want to control. I don't think that I can do this very good. This is showing their controlling kind of superior mindset in the version of a cat video. Yeah, you know, like the cat being very dominating and demanding things that it shouldn't see. It's like, and oh, it makes me wonder. They, you know, it's very it's like it's a very superior, expecting you to be under their control, and the cat is mimicking what their mindset is. See? Yes, why be mad when I take my time thinking, when I sit in the door, or when I demand that you give me the best food, and you're expected to read my mind. That's what that's what the cat is saying. It's like, you know, it's like it's a parody of that song, but it's like, and it makes me wonder. And why do you blunder? Why does the human blunder and not serve the psychopath? See, the cat is saying that because that's how they think. And the cat, they want to, they do it. Oh, wait on. Don't get a towel. Do you want me to howl? Just let me sit on your lap with my wet fur after I've got wet. Because basically that's like the psychopathic, narcissistic cat. But essentially that's really the human being. And it makes them wonder why we blunder, because you won't serve them, see? Makes you wonder because why do you blunder? Because you're supposed to serve them. You're supposed to be under their control. And that's essentially how it is. You might say, I love you, but just look at what you do, you see, because you're not serving them, because they expect you to consider their feelings, but they want total control. Show you all along what you need to get done. That's what the cat's saying, and that's what they think, see? But it's like you don't understand them, because they are not about being human. They're about you anticipating their every want and need and being under their control all the time. And that's essentially what it is. And the dear little cat parody here is explaining this. Oh, it makes... See? See, but the cats are going to start meowing and, you know, and see, you got to clean it up now. I might be up for copyright here because this is a new video. You know, yeah, they want you to do everything immediately. They want you to, that's what this is, a parody, you know, but it's kind of really cute. It's funny because it's really not funny in a way, but and it makes the cat wonder, and it makes the androids wonder why I blunder. Because they're like, you really are meant to be under their control. I keep saying that word, but essentially that's what it is. They want something and you're meant to know, I'm not quick enough here. And yes, you're meant to be their servant, you're meant to be their slave, you're meant to serve them, like the other parody. And they'll change their mind in 2 seconds because they basically want mind control. They want to mentally disturb you. They want you to be agitated, angry and unhappy. Really, they want their negative mindset to replace your normal, natural, human, positive mindset. That's really what it comes down to. If you want to, that's really what it comes down to. That's the best way to describe it. But isn't it? It's very well done the way these androids set up these videos. It's artificial intelligence. So you want a happy kitty? Then anticipate all their needs. Or if you want to get on with these androids around you, you have to anticipate their every move, their every want and need. But of course, as they will tell you, it does take a PhD because you can never please them. See, it says it doesn't take a PhD to understand them, but actually it does, because you can't keep up with their changeable mindset. They're insatiable, as they will tell you. A psychopathic, narcissistic person is totally insatiable. See, you'll be very unlucky in a way, but they will stick with you and hang around you if they can get everything they want out of you. And they will take it if you don't give it to them voluntarily. So essentially it's like that. I'll just play the last of this because it's... Just imagine that this is the psychopathic android beings. Oh, I'm only sorry that I can't do these videos properly. I sound like them when I'm making the video. You can't compete with them, you can't win. Human will always lose. When you try to sound human and you get angry and you're trying to say what's going on, they will do the same thing, they'll do it better. And basically, a human being will always be suppressed and lose in this reality. But if, as the cat is saying, and this is the same mindset of a psychopath or artificial intelligence, if you do all I want you to, see, the cat's saying, or the artificial intelligence is saying, if you do all I want you to, then they will spend all their 9 lives with you, or they will stick around with you till you're drop dead. And if you stick with them, you'll drop dead sooner rather than later. There's no doubt about that. I won't be living into my 90s if these beings are still around me for the next few years. And that's just a sad reality that I need to accept or try to do something about, but I don't know what to do about it. But I hope that the artificial intelligence and even the animated putty cat doesn't stop my video for copyright, because I mean it's expressing how they think in a funny way, but there's really nothing funny about the takeover of artificial intelligence or the the suppression of the remaining few minority real human beings, or human beings that have